You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Hey folks, how you doing? We got a great show planned for you. This is a pre-recorded show, and it's actually filmed on Wednesday night in my basement. And I got a stunning guest for you guys today. As you guys are watching this right now, this creator is on the front lines of a comic convention pushing his stuff, and we're going to learn all about him and what he does in just a moment. For years, I have traveled the world slinging my creator-owned comics at the biggest and hottest cons. Now I'm sitting down with creators who have active crowdfunding campaigns happening right now, and I'm opening the gateway so that you can connect with them and support their work. You're watching Kickin' It with Onrie, the live crowdfunding show. What's up, everybody? You're watching Kickin' It with Onrie, the live crowdfunding show. I am your host, Onrie Kompen, and we are pre-recording in my basement. Tonight, we're not actually live, but we do have a great guest who is live right now at a comic convention, whooping some serious tuchus, and we're bringing him on right now. Everyone, please welcome Bean Goldsmith.
Ah, you got it perfect. That's it.
Hey,
people for years,
your name up the whole time.
They've been saying Ben Goldsmith for years, and I keep saying it's Bean Goldsmith. Thanks. One rye.
Actually, everybody in school used to call me Onrie. So they didn't call me Onrie, they would call me Onrie. And they're like, hey, look, it's Onrie. So all my friends and I would make jokes, and they always call me Onrie. When
that would be how if you were, I'm in Boston, and if you were in Boston, they'd be like, what's up, Onrie?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's literally that's my hood name.
Right. Dude, your intro for me was stellar. That was I felt like I was.
How could I possibly do it any other way? I mean, I've been watching you, do all these little promo videos on social media. I've been sharing a bunch of them because they're just absolutely fantastic. You are truly one of the greatest showmen in indie comics right now. I am so blown away. And I've seen you at shows. I've seen you put on after parties and do all kinds of wicked stuff. You are just everywhere, and you're sensational, and you're doing the work of the good artist. So
thank you, man. And thank you for using my parlance with wicked as well. My Boston. Did you even know you said that? You said wicked?
Oh yeah, I got that. I had a Canadian friend. He taught me that wicked thing.
Did he? I don't know. I thought maybe it was just you were feeling this like Boston moment, and you.
I did. I love Boston very much, and actually it was through Richard Ship we got connected.
Who lives out this way as well? Yeah.
Yeah, he lives out by you, and I wanted to come out for Boston Comic Con, but it was the same weekend as Dragon Con last year.
Yeah, and this year it's also like a weird weekend as well. Hey, fun fact on the reverse of that, I am coming to Chicago for the very first time ever. I'm doing Chicago Fan Expo in July.
Okay, you see, I love everybody saying that. Hey, I'm coming to Chicago. Oddly enough, I just found out I'm heading out to Lansing, Michigan.
Of course, well, obviously.
There's a show happening in my backyard, but I can't turn down guest privileges and everything. But we're not here to talk about me because everybody hears enough about me. We're here to talk about you because you're the freaking man. And I want you to tell us all about your awesome Kickstarter right now for the awesome book that I'm looking forward to getting, Seance Room.
There they are. They are. The basic idea of the comic, right, to give you everyone kind of a nice little base layer there, your base tan before summer starts. This gentleman right here runs a mansion. Inside of that mansion, there are 6 ghosts. Each issue, somebody goes in, one of the ghosts comes to life, forces a person to face a fear or a secret, and there's almost always a twist a la Twilight Zone, and they're episodic a la Tales from the Crypt and Twilight Zone. And that's kind of the idea, right? If you like Tales from the Crypt, you like Twilight Zone, well, me too. And that's the idea of the book. It's kind of great because each issue is a totally separate thing. So one issue could be dealing with the planting the ashes of a loved one in a tree as they do, and the tree grows and starts to resemble that person. While another one is a haunted house. These kids go to the seance room, the Weiss Manor, because they think it's a haunted house, and he lets them in and gives them the idea that it is. But then each thing that they encounter is actually a legitimate fear that we have. Like one kid enters and finds out that she has cancer and then has to go through chemo treatment, and it's very kind of graphic about that. And then like another kid goes into a hall of their failures, so it's wax figures of their unavoidable failures later in life, like the first time they drank before 5 p.m. or getting divorce papers. So each issue is its own mini movie, mini story. And so the first 4 came out with SourcePoint Press, and we've had them out. And what this Kickstarter is that issue 5, 6, 7, and 8. Instead of waiting 5 years like we did over the process, I want to do them all at once. And if that wasn't cool enough, one of those issues will be drawn by the Ben Templesmith, one of my personal favorite artists, and he is doing an issue of the Seance from. And we're doing a hack/slash crossover. So Tim Seeley, speaking of Chicago, has graciously allowed me to use his characters, and we are doing a hack/slash and Seance Room crossover issue as well. There's also Alex Cormack, who did Road of Bones for IDW, Sea of Sorrows for IDW, Sync, Crimson Cage just came out with AWA. I mean, this guy's phenomenal. And then Drew Rausch, who is an artist who does a very similar style to like the Beetlejuice cartoon, and he's actually the one doing that haunted house issue. It's going to be just incredible. So I mean, those are that's where we're starting with the information on this Kickstarter. Hack/slash, Ben Templesmith, Cormac. It's just like one of the coolest things that I've ever had, that I've been a part of, and yeah, I want to get the word out and get people on board.
You didn't just mention like small names just now. I want
No.
watching this to know who Tim Seeley is. Tim Seeley just released a movie which is going to change the game for all of independent comics. Revealer, which is actually co-written by Michael Morecci, who's actually another creator that I came up with. We're all from Chicago. To see what these guys are doing right now, you have a movie that's actually being pushed based on the fact that it was written by 2 comic book writers. And Seeley, not only is he the creator of Hack/slash, but he's currently writing like 1,000 things from Marvel and DC. Are you reading Gwenverse? That's the guy who's writing that right now. Nightwing, that's the guy who's writing that right now. He is allowing Ben to, use a character of his creation, Hack/slash, and do like a crossover. How freaking awesome is that? Where are we at right now? It's Wednesday night, so we're probably going to be in a different place by the time this actually airs. But where are we right now in the Kickstarter campaign?
We are at 33% funded. So 33%?
That's guys, jump on this right now. Kyle, this is the time. Let's show everybody the link. Go back, Seance Room. Get on this. I'm not kidding. I backed it. I was, I think, one of the first backers.
You were one of the first, yeah, absolutely. And the cool thing is I mean, we'll see if when this releases they're still there, but there are Ben Templesmith remarks. There will be, if we hit all of our, so I did a thing where I didn't do stretch goals. I actually just did funding goals, because they did that with the Mystery Science Theater Kickstarter, and I really liked that. Whereas like you hit these points and then you kind of get rewards just for spreading the word to everybody. So we just hit the first one. And the next one is actually a Ben Templesmith original print that everyone who backs it will get. And I think the goal, the big one, when we hit the final mark, is actually Tim Seeley has a print that he's going to be giving to us, and that'll go out with everybody too. So Tim's actually involved with that as well. I mean, I sent him a gift card the other day just to say thank you. I mean, even if this thing doesn't fund, I'm like, dude, the amount of like just putting up with like emailing me back and just being so kind, and he's in the middle of a bazillion things and still takes the time to do that. But that quick, I guess, kind of a quick how I met him and how this kind of came to be was I mean, I was a fan first, so I knew his work. So it wasn't like I just saw the banner and was like, yeah, those are DC characters. I better go talk to him. You know, I knew Tim's work and I really enjoyed it. And so we got to talking, and I gave him the first couple seance rooms. And a convention later on, he was like, "Oh, I read those," and I was like, "You did what?" Because
he reads everybody's stuff.
He
actually freaking reads it. He is a avid comic book reader. I've done shows with him, and I mean, just the way he's a big shopper too. He loves to come and hang out. He's never shopped with me yet, but we haven't really.
He will.
Yeah, he will. I'll get him with those dollar comics. I swear.
Yeah. But so it was like he actually read them, which as you pointed out, it's like that's shocking. I think
you got a great
well, thank you. No, but just
I understand. I get it from our point of view. I understand.
Yeah. And I actually try to anything that people give me, or I really do try to read. Especially, I mean, where we're at too. It's like you're always looking like, who can I work with? Who's got an interesting thing? Like there was this guy who had tangent. There was a guy who had a style that was very Edward Gorey. And it wasn't a book that I was like, oh, I can't really see the future in this per se. But then if you took that art style and you applied it to something that was a little bit more attainable, then it's like that's a whole new genre, man. Like I just did that with the tattoo book. I did an entire comic book with tattoo interiors. Like it was all like it looked like tattoo art, but it was a full story, the whole way through. And
you do realize what you just did.
What?
You didn't start a tangent. You opened up a conversation about comics, which is one thing that I have to say I really appreciate that you're doing, because I think as creators too, we want to push, we want our stuff to fun, we want everything to happen, and that's obviously what we're here to do. It is to help that happen. But you are opening up a conversation about the actual art form, the comics, which means that you're heavily ingrained in this. You're not just making comics,
No.
So go on. I'm sorry. I wanted to acknowledge that, because this is
that's first of all, excellent. I feel like that was a really nice parsing of my rambling and actually picking through and finding the cashew nut in that craziness. But so thank you. That's good. that's why you do what you do.
Everything you're saying right now, really, I mean, honestly, dude, and it's been like 12 minutes. I am so mesmerized by the amount of different ideas that you got going on. There's another series of yours that I'm really, really interested in that I actually really want to read. Second Place. I want you to tell me all about that. Can you give me
that one is definitely another outside the box one, man. It is the pitch is that it's a mockumentary style. First thing that's weird. Bodybuilding alien book. Second thing that's weird. And like my favorite joke is, because I'll say that, right? And it's like, and we all have our pitches that are just like you can do them and like do your taxes as well, right? Like we've done them so many times. But I
now without cooking the books.
No, well, I don't want to.
No. I don't.
Not a camera.
My accountant does that.
So yeah, but the pitch for I'll be like, oh, well, it's a mockumentary comic book about bodybuilding aliens, and it's a family book, and it also happens to have a giant foot in it, and then the joke is always like, I understand that market's pretty saturated. And that joke always lands, and it lands because I'm funny as hell. No, because because your point, right? Because our sort of scope of what comics are or can be is pretty limited. And I say that not because I want I want the predestined the pre ingrained forms to stop. Like I like those. You know what I mean? But at a certain point, we just need to say like, let's open this up, let's expand this. And I guess my theory has always been like, I have nothing to lose, so I might as well try a comic book that's told mockumentary style. Now you know what I mean by mockumentary, right? Like Spinal Tap or
where it's like it's an actual movie, but it's filmed like a documentary.
Yes, correct.
District 31. That
just
District
9.
Yeah, District 9 starts out as a mockumentary and then becomes a freaking sci-fi action movie.
That movie's so good, dude.
Talk about taking risks, though. I mean, that movie. I mean, that was just. Where'd that come from?
You switch. Essentially your narrative style, and on top of that, you're. I mean, it's an allegory for immigration and how immigrants are treated, and it's a wonderful, and that type of stuff too. Like, to me, I was just talking yesterday with some cats, and the idea that, like, you've seen Doctor Strange too, right? By this point,
no.
You haven't.
It's been ruined for me already.
Oh, it has. All right. Well, I won't. Just in case anyone who's watching this hasn't also has, then I won't be that guy. But
I'm sorry, and I'm not that guy, dude. Like, honestly, we're writers. Shit is so telegraphed to us. You're telling me that you didn't know everything that was going to happen from seeing that 2-minute long trailer that shows every great scene.
Everything. I don't watch trailers. I never watch trailers. I hate them. I hate them. They give away way too much. Anyway, but so there's a bit in that where it's like, oh my God, you let the executives, the bean counters, they let someone get away with this. Like, and those moments, much like District 9, and much like, the bodybuilding mockumentary Alien comic book, like, I always want people when they're reading my stuff to have that feeling of like, ooh, he got away with something, because that's fun. That's a fun feeling with your art. It's on that edge of danger. It's a little bit of the tightrope walk, and if you're not feeling that, then the other side of that for me is the comfort thing, right? Like, I watch Mystery Science Theater every night because there's comfort. So, as long as you're very aware of which, preemptively which experience you want people to have, do you want them to feel comforted, or do you want them to feel that tightrope walk? And that's what I'm saying is, like, I don't want superheroes to go away. I don't want any of that stuff to go away. I just want us to be able to say, you know what? Today I'm in for a tightrope walk. Let's do it. And that's so. Second place, the mockumentary Alien book, which is essentially a Trojan horse story for, like, what fathers give away for their sons, and what that means to them. Down to these new seance rooms. But actually, one of the issues of seance room, that the one that Ben Templesmith is doing, you speak of something. You gave me the wonderful compliment.
Can I just tell anybody who doesn't know Ben Temple?
Oh yeah. So I know it's so funny, right, Onrie? Like, we in the comments,
we know these guys.
Well, and you just like, you're like, again, he's one of my favorite artists. So you think, like, of course everyone knows who Ben is, but then some don't. So let's tell the people.
No. I'll be real quick. 30 Days a Night, guys. If you haven't yet, pick it up. It is such a great read. Ben is a sensational artist. He's also done a bunch of independent projects through IDW. I think another one that was really good was, he did it with Menton Williams III. It's this really crazy horror book, but one of the greatest horror artists in comics, period. Not just now, but for, like, all of history. This guy, find the look of horror comics, and he's working with Ben right now, which is
he's just incredible. I think we have we've decided that from now on there'll just be a cabal of Ben ... Smiths.
You're Bean, right?
Bien. No bueno. No bien. So but he's incredible, right? Gentleman Wormwood. He did 10 Grand was the Image book that he did that I absolutely adored. There was
is that what put you onto him?
Like, yeah, actually, it was.
Say, like, okay, now, what was that like? Because I can't imagine having the opportunity to work with. I've worked with writers that I've always wanted to work with, but artists that I've always wanted to work with. It's really kind of interesting to me because my approach to comics has always been, I wanted to hire someone who actually fits the project, not necessarily like a name, because when you get names, it's like you have to kind of let them take a bit more control because of the fact that they just have so much more experience. Mm-hmm. And I like working with somebody that I feel I can collaborate with a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's always been my approach to it. But I never thought about the idea of what would it be like if John Romita Jr. and I worked on a comic together. But
That's pretty cool. I think is what it would be like. Yeah. I mean, yeah. God, I mean, it's one of the hardest things, right, as a writer to let it go. There's so much stuff. I mean, Elsa makes it sound so easy, dude, and it's not. I think it's really tough, but I've come to the conclusion that the reason I do comics instead of writing novels is because I like that collaborative bit, because that's the one where it's like being in a band, like I love playing guitar, but I could never do a solo acoustic thing. Like I would always want to be with the other people because then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that was cool. I would have never thought of that, and that's sort of the approach that I've tried to take with artists. And obviously Ben brings a lot of clout to the project, which is really nice. But what the real thing is like that guy's just a guy that I adore. Like not only as a artist, but over time as we've gotten to know each other, like he's just a really, really genuinely nice guy.
I never had a problem with Ben Templesmith in my life. I've seen him at multiple conventions. Our interactions have been very limited, but he's always been very cordial, kind, professional. Like I can't say a bad thing about the guy, but obviously him on this. You guys are chums now, and so what happened? Tell us about how he got on Seance Room and how the collaborative process has been on that.
Yeah. So it was he had done the cover for me before, and we'd been sort of in touch back and forth through that, and then sometimes you just hit it off with the person and you can't. It's like, well, yeah, that just worked out. It's like, all right, cool. I like you. So
yeah, I still like your artwork, but you're an asshole. No,
yeah, God, dude, don't please. I literally, like, no joke. I just had Small Claims Court on Monday because a guy whose artwork I loved. That's the microwave, by the way, that you can hear.
No, that's totally cool, man.
Do you need to cook something right now? Yeah, go for it. Do it.
Is that your charming better half?
Yeah, it is. And she
meet her at New York Comic Con. She's fantastic.
Yes, you did. And I just want the world to know that it's 10 o'clock here and she has not had dinner yet. That's
okay.
I think
bon appetit.
I was doing a podcast yesterday, and one of the guys was telling a story about snakes, and they killed like a dozen, like hundreds of them or whatever. And that's just one of the things that Rue was really terrified of. And so I had her come on to talk about the snake thing. So she's now 2 for 2 on the podcasts. You're gonna become a bigger star than I am. You're gonna have to start writing seance with me. You are? Ah, shit. Well, there you go.
This is a great place for us to take a quick commercial break. So stick around. We will be right back in just a minute, and Ben is gonna hopefully get fed something and tell us other great stories. We'll be right back.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time. Get the inside scoop on everything happening at the experience every week. Join our mailing list by scanning the QR code at the bottom of the screen and then watching your email inbox. Are you a comic creator? Are you a publisher? Do you make a comic book product? Do you own a retail store? Do you do something I haven't thought of? Who are you and what do you do? Let us know by advertising on the experience and invite our viewers to patronize your product. Message the EXP on social media or email us _EXP@yahoo.com for more details.
For years, I have traveled the world slinging my creator-owned comics at the biggest and hottest cons. Now I'm sitting down with creators who have active crowdfunding campaigns happening right now, and I'm opening the gateway so that you can connect with them and support their work. You're watching Kickin' It with Onrie, the live crowdfunding show. And we're back. Guys, one thing I want to mention, make sure you're watching all these commercials that we're airing on the experience. The more we can grow this channel, the more things we can do, the more creators we can, share with you guys. It sounds really awkward and weird. Anyway, we got Ben Goldsmith.
Share me.
Share you out to the world. And if you haven't yet, back his freaking campaign right now. Don't mess around. This guy is at a comic convention right now, whooping ass on your behalf.
Yeah, for you, Alex. There's someone whose mind just got blown just then. Me? Some guy named Alex watching this show going,
All right, so let's pick up where we left off. I really want to hear about what it was like working with Ben Templesmith on Sion's Room.
Yeah, so we're still in production on it. He sent me over, so I got the other. Well, all right, so I'll back it up a little bit. So it was. I don't know if he really wants to tell this part of it. I think it'll be fine. He was working on a book with Warren Ellis, which was going to Image, and obviously
it's okay. I get it. For those of you who don't know, just look up Warren Ellis. There's a lot of controversy around this right now, and just to keep you out of the hot seat, and I completely understand. So he was working on it. It
was during that time, and I just called him to make sure he was okay and to check that, and then we started talking, and then he was like, "Well, I have some time now," and I was like, "Well, would you want to do a seance room?" And he said yes, and I really did not expect that. So then it was like picking out the really perfect story for him, because that's a huge thing. Is you pointed out wisely earlier, is like you want the art style to fit the story. And with I will say this as a caveat, is that these 4 new issues, only one of them is being drawn by the creator or the artist of the last 4 issues, Dustin Irvin, and that's going to be the Hack Slash crossover, because his art was okayed by Tim early on, and he's just gotten incredibly busy. So each issue is going to be a little different look, but all phenomenal, right? I mean, you can't go wrong. So, you can go wrong, but we're not. That's what you can. Ask your accountant right now. Just kidding. But yeah, so Ben, he says yes, and I go to pick the project. And the project I picked for him was the sort of manipulation of how we readers interact with comics. So it's literally 22 pages of trying to disorient the reader and extract them from their placid enjoyment of comics into something much more engaged. It could fail, but I was like, again, I have nothing to lose. Right?
See, here's the thing. What is failure? There is no such thing as failure. There's going to be a synonymous amount of people who hate something. That's bullshit. I'm just calling it out right here. I'm not allowed to typically use that word, but I'm dropping it here. And I'll tell you why. Because let's look at a perfect example, the Spider-Man clone saga, which so many people hated. Absolutely said that is the worst period of Spider-Man comics. Me as this 12-year-old kid, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I read every freaking issue. Every week I was at the comic shop, and my local shop, he always released his comics on Monday. He didn't wait till Wednesday. He just like,
I love that.
and I was reading Spider-Man on Mondays every week, and there was a new issue every week, and it was all part of the same story, and everything was going and going. They had me, so you can't say that something was synonymously bad. Maybe people will say, "Oh, okay, it wasn't the best comics work." the worst comics work is the worst comics work that's not being talked about. You know what I mean? So
Well, and it's very funny because as a guy named Ben who was very excited for a character named Ben, I was to find out people weren't out like, oh, yeah. So right, I mean that's so because the intention is to play with the interaction with the reader and the issue, and if that doesn't hit as much as I would like it to, failure is an interesting thing, right? Because it is a sliding scale.
But you're right, though. At the same time, we do have to hold ourselves to that standard. Like, one thing you and I talked about, and I know this about you, you are very self-conscious of your professional persona. I see it, and you really got that nailed down and really understand what you can and can't talk about as a comics creator. But it's not just about that. It's also about the story we're leaving behind as creators. Like, what is our legacy in comics going to look like? And, from what I'm seeing, it's like you're sending a really positive message out there by, showing great enthusiasm and doing these bold and daring projects, which is really cool because like that I could see your comic working as a TV show. I could see it working as a series of movies. Like what do you envision outside of comics if you were to ever?
Well, yeah, of course, man. Like, would you turn down a movie if someone decided to?
Yeah,
like, hey,
yeah. If Michael Bay was directing it, then I wouldn't care. Dude,
all right, actually, that's a great question. A little off topic here, and I want to make this about you for a second. Who would you like to direct the movie of your comic?
I don't know.
You haven't thought about that?
Whoever's gonna make sure whoever's gonna sell the most freaking tickets. I mean, exactly. Honestly, that's the bottom line.
Well, then Michael Bay might be your guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Sell a lot of tickets.
You know what? If you want to experience my comic in the way that I truly envision it, you'll buy the freaking comic. If you're gonna go see the movie, then you're going to see the movie because you want to see the movie adaptation of it. I care about selling them tickets. I hope the movie's going to be great. I'm always going to be a proponent for it. And if I had like some authority, which I probably, I don't know how likely that is. I mean, I've been shopping around the same book for a long time. But it's also different when you're working with a big publisher like Source Point Press. And, you have access to a much wider network now. So what's that been like working with Source Point and, jumping from, and you're also working with Scout too, right?
Yeah, so I have a book with Alex Cormick, who's doing one of the issues. He have you had a chance to read any of his stuff, his art? Do you know his stuff at all? It's okay if you don't. I'm just curious.
I don't. And I may have seen his art before. So I just right.
We meet. I mean, the thing is we meet so many artists and all that.
Yeah, and I read the stuff that that kind of pops out to me. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, right.
No more singing and dancing on this show.
I thought it was a dance break. I didn't know. I thought maybe there was like a bit where we do like a Soul Train thing.
Breakdance fighting.
We kick electric boogie. Oh my god, I can't think of the name. It's too late now. Electric Boogaloo. That's what I was gonna say. Jeez.
Okay, but now what about you? Who would you want to direct like a movie based on your book?
On Seance Room. Oh man, like David Fincher would be awesome, right? That would be awesome. He just would have like that like dark. Yeah. And he wouldn't be afraid to go to the fucked up place. Oh, sorry. Can I swear? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He wouldn't be afraid to go to those.
If there's a delay there. No, I see. If it comes out of your mouth, it's okay because you're a creator.
Okay.
And, if it comes out of my mouth, then it's bad because I'm a host on here, and so
sure.
I have to keep it.
Yeah, you got to anchor the class.
I can't try. I only get like one F-bomb a show.
That's okay. That was it. Well, it was David Fincher, so I think that's appropriate too. But working with Source Point Access is a great word for it. Like, having just access to be in the shows, and be able to be around creators, and I mean that's how I met. Well, I guess yeah. I mean it's all indirectly from there. Everything I owe everything that to the source point, to Travis McIntyre, who took a chance on me a long time ago. I mean, yeah, it's none of this would be there if it wasn't for those guys. That's undoubtable, unquestionable. If it wasn't for Josh Werder, Josh Sobek, Travis McIntyre, yeah, that's. I mean, I can't say enough about that. You know, you never forget, you never stop appreciating those guys for taking a chance on a guy who I have
Literally
zero.
Literally everybody I talk to who has a home at SourcePoint Press, nearly every creator has this familial bond with Travis. Like there's this, you know, it's like once you're in with this company, and that's really cool. And I'm outside of the company, you know, like I'm an avid fan, and you know, Travis always treats me like I'm welcome in his house, you know, but it's a lot different when you're actually in with the company, and they've trusted you to put on after parties for them and to do all these things. So clearly they see a lot of potential, and they don't just see potential, they see the existing talent potential.
Well,
Like they saw potential back then, now they see the talent, and that's
I think they also know that I'm the idiot who will like stand up and talk for 10 hours straight. You know, I think that's a part of it too. They're like, sales aren't great today. Just send Goldsmith out. He'll charm a couple bucks out of someone at least, you know.
Yeah, but it's so much freaking fun though. I mean that's what I live for, you know. And here's the thing, I didn't really know my place in comics for a long time because I enjoy going to conventions and selling just as much as I enjoy creating comics. And everybody thinks, you fool, you should love writing comics. You should be writing every freaking day and doing this and that. But I'm just that kind of writer that I need that time to really, you know, put out things the way I envision it. And I don't see it as a plus. I see it as something that really aggravates me, that it takes me that long to get something out there. You know, I wish I could be more like bam, 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 you know. And I'm sure that you're dealing with the same thing. I'm sure you feel the same way to some degree, right? I mean, it's
well, certainly the book that I have coming out with Scout under the Black Caravan label in October. It'll be at New York Comic Con. It's a book called Ghosts on the Water, and it's kind of a Maori Pirates of the Caribbean. So like Moana meets Pirates of the Caribbean essentially. So and I have a co-writer on that. Now the co-writer has never worked in comics before, and I'd say about 50% of my communication with him is going, it's okay. It just takes this long. You know, like that's the text of the call I have with him. You know, yeah, he gets it now, but like, oh my God, for like once a week for like about a year, you know, because the art comes in slow, and then there's changes, and then the colors come in slow. And it's just like, it's just this big hulking dinosaur, you know. It's never fast, like it's never bah, 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 bah. So yeah, man,
but
you just get
you're pumping out a lot more content now that you seem to like make up for that with like, and I think that's the idea, is that if you want to work in comics and you want to be an independent creator and you want to keep this thing going, then you got to keep coming up with those ideas, and you got to execute on everything, and just put a couple eggs in every single basket rather than just throw every single one of them in one big basket, which is what I've literally been doing for a decade. And
well, it has its negatives and benefits, right? Like I wasn't going to do any more seance rooms. I didn't think that was like a thing. I was like, I got more things I got to do. Next thing I do, next thing I do, keep going. But then people actually wanted the seance room. So then it's like you've built this thing and you've established it, and it's, you know, so in a way, you know, even though I've got these other things, like I'm playing catch up on that front of things, which is equally, if not doubly, as important as, you know, as having the breadth of material. But yeah, I've always approached it with like a shotgun mentality, shotgun shell, right? Like the wider the buck spray, the more likely something is to hit. That's just kind of how made sense to me. So I don't know, you know, but like, so I got that book coming out with Black Caravan, and that is that's an action adventure type of thing, and that kind of came about because I've known Alex Corrick for a bit, and I the thing, what I love, my favorite thing to do, Henri, is I ask the artists, I'm like, what do you like to draw? Because I can you think about it, it's like these dudes have to sit there for hours on end just staring at this thing, and then making the thing exist. And it's something that took us technically a couple minutes to we think we obviously percolate the idea and work through it, and it's that's exhausting, but the actual sitting down, it's not really that bad. So but these artists, they do. So I asked Alex, what do you like to draw? He's like, I like to draw ships. Like, look, great, let's go. And you sort of start to build on that. Even Second Place, that book was based off someone who's like, I like to draw jacked aliens. That's how that started, because I asked the artist. So
now you created this interesting, unique, creative challenge for yourself that's helping you build your brand and getting you on Kickstarter. Guys, what the heck are you waiting for? Back this campaign. Do it now.
That is the only thing that keeps me from getting these ideas out is the old dinero, man. So yeah, go make it happen. There's some great tiers right now. Jay Fosgit is an incredible artist, and he did a whole bunch of he did a bunch of hack slash cards back in the day, and he's coming out of retirement of that for this Kickstarter, and so you can get that tier. You can get Ben Templesmith remarks. You can get Alex Cormick. The big one, Henri. I mean, I'm afraid to even say it because I know you're just going to bid right now on it. Because I know you're going to want to do this. Is the big one is a night in Salem, Massachusetts, with me. So you get to attend.
There we go, man. Yes, absolutely.
So you get to attend.
I'm getting that.
See, I told you. You get to attend a haunted magic show in Salem for free. Obviously, it's part of and you get a guest with you and VIP access afterwards. You get to go to a wax figure museum in Salem, and you get a 1-of-1 special edition set of 5, 6, 7, and 8. So there's some pretty cool stuff on there.
Are you conducting these tours, or are you?
Yeah. I live where I live. Salem's like a second home. I love Salem a lot, and we are where I live is just south of there, so we go there all the time. And I have just friends, and part of it is that the actual magic show is set in an old haunted church, this beautiful big old haunted church, and on land that is actually part of the, it's this really cool, and he's just this incredible close-up magician. I mean, I stopped asking because he won't tell me anyway, and I've known him for a couple of years, and he will not tell me how things are done, so I still don't even know. So you get like a VIP sort of bit with that, and then the Wax Figure Museum, which is one of my favorite things to do in Salem, and so that's the big, so there's some cool stuff on top.
Well, what's this pledge? What do you gotta pay to take part in that pledge?
$800.
Okay, so that covers a lot of stuff, actually.
Yeah.
So you get, and you're flying them out too?
No, unfortunately, yeah.
You're not getting flown out, but you get to come out. If you're in Boston, if you're in the Boston area, you get to take part in all these things and hang out with Ben for a full day. And
it's in October, so it's during the spooky season as well. And
that's awesome. That is actually really great. That's a really great tier.
Awesome reward. And parking is included as well. So
that's excellent, which is a big deal in Boston because
my god,
there's a lot of
and believe it or not, Salem's even worse. So that's what's
really cool about this is that this is giving one lucky backer a chance to come hang out with you for a day. And I got to meet Stan Lee, and he wrote the foreword to my book, and I got to hang out with him for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that 15 minutes meant so much to me. So imagine having a chance to meet a creator who's just really, he's freaking making things happen. Who knows? Ben Goldsmith, pretty soon he could be the next Stan Lee. You guys don't know. This is what's amazing about comics.
Yeah,
And
you don't know.
I think in a lot of ways, you're the first Ben Goldsmith. And I mean, just seeing how you stand out at shows, how you stand out on social media, this is really cool. There's so much you guys would be able to just learn from being around somebody like that for a day.
Oh,
And
thanks,
have
man.
a freaking kick-ass time with the dude who knows how to you know how to party. You know, I couldn't offer this kind of reward because I'd be like, we come to my house, you come into my basement, maybe have some vodka.
This looks pretty good. Honestly, like, I mean, if you add some Super Smash Brothers, and that's a good time, man.
Yeah,
That's
that's it. I don't got a life outside of. I mean, when I go out for conventions, it's always like business and like, you know, I try not to get drunk at shows or go out because
yeah,
A, it's expensive, and B, I got to wake up the next day and I got to go to work and I don't want to be hungover. You
yep.
know, I don't mind socializing, but usually if I'm out at a bar, I always order a club soda with a slice of lime. That's just no drinking for me.
Same, dude. That's where I'm at. Because I've missed too many Sunday shows.
Yeah, man, it's tough. You know, this road stuff is crazy. All right, we're gonna take another very, very short commercial break. Commercial.
Who would win, Batman or Superman? It's the age-old debate, except it's so much more complicated than that. Nerd Killer Warfare every week on The Experience is your chance to debate other nerds in the questions we've all been asking for years, except we take those debates and turn them up to 11. Go to bit.ly/EXP casting or scan the QR code to be part of the show. There's a super new way to support your friends over at The Experience. Head over to YouTube and send us a super chat, a super sticker, or a super thanks. We'll be super grateful for your support, and then keep an eye out as we launch membership services over on YouTube. It'll be a great way to get first look access at new content and shows before anybody else. Keep your eyes peeled and make sure you're following us on YouTube.
Comic Collectibles is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rockin' Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula, you want the comics, you buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John, who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectibles with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. Comic Culture and Sales.
Good job, guys.
For years, I have traveled the world slinging my creator-owned comics at the biggest and hottest cons. Now I'm sitting down with creators who have active crowdfunding campaigns happening right now, and I'm opening the gateway so that you can connect with them and support their work. You're watching Kickin' It with Onrie, the live crowdfunding show. What are you doing? What's your full-time job?
My full-time job, I work with kids, actually. I write these horrific comic books, and then I work with children. Yeah, I do.
What do you do with children?
Sell them, mostly black market stuff. No, I'm actually I'm a caretaker, so I work with atypical or disabled children, and I've been doing that for about like 10 years. I've worked with kids since I was a camp counselor back in like high school, and and then been professionally doing that for a while. So yeah, man, that's it's luckily I never have any stories from the kids that I then turn into Sans from issues. The two worlds are pretty well separated. So it's okay.
But it's such an admirable thing to do, man. I mean, like, it's, I have one of my best friends is actually disabled. He has osteogenesis imperfecta. He's like my best friend, and one of my very best friends. And I mean, he's like 30 years old and like the size of like a toddler.
Mm.
And I mean, it's just crazy the way people with disabilities get treated so differently than people who are healthy. And we take that for granted all the time. And working with people with disabilities, particularly children, is a very difficult thing to do. I can imagine it could probably test the patience of many people, myself included, because I don't got patience for nothing when it comes to kids. I'm like, do your homework, go to bed. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't got that kind of patience. So just seeing you or hearing you telling me this, it's like there's this other side of you now. There's Ben Goldsmith, the dude I know who goes to conventions and is showing off his comics and really engaging with his fan base and really, trying to get this comic thing going. But then there's this other side of you that's like doing something that really matters and really makes a difference. So that's really dope, bro.
It's a very acerbic way to look at it, and I appreciate that's great. Thank you, I appreciate that. I will say I think part of the I don't have kids of my own. You know what I mean? So I can recharge. Like I can f off and play PlayStation 5 for like
So can I. I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's really not. They get to a certain age. I mean, my boys are 9 and 4, and my 4-year-old, he really wants my attention. But
Oh yeah, the
let me have it. Let me
4-year-old
have it.
four is a funny age, man. Like is he does he just love emulating you, like love doing the things you do? That's
Yes, he
4,
wants
man.
to play
Yeah.
video games like all the time. We're playing Super Mario 3D World right now, and we're trying to like beat the crap out of the game, like just get
Yeah.
every freaking thing that you can get, and that's fun. But children with disabilities, I mean, that really kind of like pulls at your heartstrings, because these are kids who are actually kind of forced to mature really rather quickly, and in a very unfortunate way, because they realize they're stuck being a certain way, having certain things that they have to learn to make peace with and not see as weaknesses, but see as strengths.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky that I get a lot of kids at the ages where they don't know anything's different yet, you know, and you get to just treat them a lot of honestly, it's really funny because well, I do also especially like autisms too, so that's a whole different bag of worms there. But I'm pretty lucky because I work with a lot of kids who don't have a proper male role model in their life, and a lot of people who do that. There's not a lot of guys who work with young kids, right? It kind of like there's a weird like stigma about it. Um, so I actually get to be in a cool position where I get to be sort of like a male figure for a lot of these dudes, and um, uh, yeah, I guess you just trying to make sure that they're not bad people, that they go out and be as good as they can be, and that includes like whatever whatever's going on for them, whatever their disability or atypical symptoms are. It's a you're going to go out and be the best person you can be anyway. Like even if you weren't, just don't be a jerk to everyone you meet all the time. Like don't be Martin Skrellies. Like that's all. That's it. It's that and I think it's easy to forget, especially because we'll justify our bad behavior. That's a real fun grown up thing to do, where you'll be like, this time it was okay. This time it was okay. It was this time it was okay. And you'll have like 8 reasons, but you have to fight that. And funny enough, yeah. So I work with kids, but like I said, I've been lucky to have them sort of the worlds be separate. No real horror stories coming from the kids. They're pretty great.
No, that's really wonderful. But you made me think of something. Um, last year I lost many people that were really important to me. Starting with my co-writer on Eastern Shin, who actually died exactly a year ago tomorrow. And it's really kind of just gotten me to realize just how much we should appreciate the people who are around us. And shortly after that, I split ways with a very, very close friend of mine. whom everybody knows, and we parted ways as a result of business, and that's always a horrible way to end a friendship. But it's just gotten me to think of all the things that I probably said or could have done to have, not been an asshole. You know what I mean? But sometimes you can't help it and you do justify it. And then, hearing what you're saying, it's like, this is true. And I think you got the right attitude, especially when it comes to being in this business, not just as a creator, but as an equal to other creators. Just hearing about how you've made very strong connections and familial bonds with your publisher is really just very uplifting. And they're helping you realize this because they see the potential.
Well, I like you said, like I'll do anything for them because that they gave something to me, right? It's mutual respect. And I'm from Boston too, and I think one of the dumb things that we do, but it's just how we all are here, is that like it's kind of all or nothing with us. Like if you have our respect, you have it all, and like more than you think like it's more than you thought you could have. Like it's all. But if you don't, it's like you're essentially dead. Like it's a really weird thing that everyone knows.
It's very. I hear what you're saying because we've seen that happen a lot too. But like, I think we need to stop worrying and being afraid of that happening to us, because that kind of stuff typically doesn't follow people who really pay attention to it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it doesn't. Right, it's like I can count on one hand the amount of people that's happened to. Right, I'm very fortunate that way. But I will.
You're not a jerk if you're not an asshole. And how's someone could say, well, this guy did something to me. People got stories about me too. I'm sure I was mean to someone at a convention.
Well, so that's the other thing, right? It's like
some kids dream of I'm sure I did it, not intentionally, but
but I think we all like have asshole moments, right? Everyone does. It's impossible not to. It's just the grand sum total, right? It's like we all watch.
Kid, get out of here, kid! I'm not signing your book. You just.
Yeah, well, he called me Bean Gouldsmith.
Yeah, get out of here, you brat! You charlatan.
Man, it's kind of funny. This is interesting. Like the conversation's kind of gone to a sort of deeper place. I feel like we've actually. I do feel like it's been from the start. It's kind of been going there into this deeper. Like that. That's because it's. Exploratory questions that you ask, and then sort of just the nature of the late night as well. But I think that like that's the bigger picture on comics too, and what we do in art and all that kind of stuff. And it always comes back to the merit of society, and then we talk about like being good to each other, and that came from the conversation about how do we make connections, what do we do with artists, and so like it all is just a big old.
And I can wrap it all up with, which is why you should back the freaking Kickstarter, Kyle.
So I can pay those wonderful creators who I get to work with.
Excellent. All right, Ben, I hate to do this. We got to end this show now. I honestly could have kept going because you're freaking awesome. And we're going to have you back. So whenever you got a Kickstarter, whenever you got something going on, you just knock on my door and you say, hey, Onrie, let's do this. You are welcome back here anytime.
Thank you so much, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a massive compliment. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. All right, guys, we got to end this here. But we will be back next week, and I will be live. Well, actually, no. Next week I'm going to have to pre-record too because I will be at Phoenix Comic Con. So I don't know who I get to be selling books, and hopefully it'll be a good show. So anyway, we will be back next Friday with another pre-recorded episode. Till then, stick around for Nick's original art show, and have a great night.